We need oil, we need gas. Where are the oil products in our class? This is a jump rope rhyme for kindergarten children created by fossil fuel interests. Is this from the 60s? Nope, from 2013, and it could be in use today. Let me take you back. By the late 1970s, major fossil fuel companies were at the absolute cutting edge of climate change science and research. They even had a climate task force to share research between each other. Minutes from that task force from 1980 warn of potential globally catastrophic effects from fossil fuel-driven climate change. 1988, a moment of promise. NASA scientist James Hansen testifies to the US Congress that human influence over the changing climate has been observed. It's front page news. Polling shows Americans want swift and powerful action. The world comes together to convene the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Perhaps most strikingly, Republican George H.W. Bush runs for president on the campaign promise to combat the greenhouse effect with the White House effect. What does the fossil fuel industry do? They spend 5 decades funding climate deniers, targeting teachers and students with propaganda, pushing the public to feel guilty, seeding hopelessness and doomism, attacking climate scientists, targeting climate protesters with surveillance, violence, and serious jail time, co-opting the language of racial justice, and pretending to support carbon taxes while spending millions to defeat them. They're still doing it. The jump rope rhyme is just one of dozens of examples. Perhaps most alarmingly, the fossil fuel industry and its allies have worked to turn young people away from political action. The American Legislative Exchange Council is a powerful group of conservative lawmakers and industry actors who work together to create model bills across the US. They have a long history of funding and leadership from fossil fuel industry majors. The council created a model bill requiring that all environmental education programs and activities conducted by schools, universities, and agencies shall not include instruction in political action skills nor encourage political action activities. Simultaneously, young people are experiencing a mental health crisis, driven in part by anxiety around climate change. In a recent survey on climate and mental health of 10,000 youth across 10 countries, 75% of respondents said they think their future is frightening. The fossil fuel industry understands a fundamental truth. Apathy protects the status quo. If you feel helpless to make a difference, you won't even try. Climate disasters are becoming devastatingly common. I can see people numb and turn away just when we need them to engage the most. Young people who have never known a life without this shadow hanging over their future are struggling with unprecedented eco-anxiety and dread. We desperately need to disrupt the apathy and doomism and empower young folks in our democracy for the sake of our planet and our children. That's exactly what I'm working on. Drawing from my PhD research, I've written a hope punk young adult novel, Rootbound. Think Greta Thunberg meets the magicians, with heaps of queer joy and swoony romance. Using the novel as a jumping off point, I'm co-creating a social media story experience where young people can learn about the root causes of climate change, design their own piece of the fandom, and learn how to take collective action for climate justice. You'll see art from the collaborators on the next few slides. Why? Joy disrupts apathy. Stories allow us to honor and hold space for grief and fear, but add a little magic, play, love, and camaraderie to climate engagement for the years to come. They create cultural touchstones for young people craving stories of both collective upheaval and collective resilience in the face of immense hardships, and blueprints for how to keep putting one foot in front of the other. One of the touchstones of the characters in the rootbound world struggling with their own climate grief is, the only way out is through. As folks spend time online and in the story, they'll learn about the systemic action, or what I call the 3 Vs, in addition to the 3 Rs. Voice your climate concerns to friends and family, volunteer in climate community, vote for climate justice champions. Voice, volunteer, vote. What if we had a tool for nimble and consistent storytelling, also grounded in social science? What if we could meet new people, those not already engaged, where they're at, with content that is enjoyable but also explains the power of frontline defenders, systems change, and collective action? What if we created a platform and a community of creatives that allowed us to continually challenge shifting fossil fuel industry narratives? In spring 2023, we'll begin serially releasing the novel Free to youth around the world on Wattpad, 1 chapter a week, with incredible art from young people. The next step is to expand the pilot into high schools and university classrooms so young people can learn who's seeding apathy and doomism and create their own art in the root-bound universe for academic credit. Comics, music, games, flash fiction, thrifted outfits. We want it all. We'll give young people power and agency in literally rewriting our climate story. Follow us at the Rootbound Collective on Instagram to read along in the spring. Join the protest, join the magic.